Have your family or friends ever told you that they don't believe in the Bible? That it's just a myth? The Bible tells us in Psalms 85 verse 11, "Truth shall spring out of the earth." And now it has. Journey with the Real Discoveries team to the destroyed cities of Sodom and Gomorrah and see for yourself the evidence that they truly were incinerated by God. For generations, the Holy Land has kept its secrets hidden. Secrets which strongly support the Bible's account of history. The Real Discoveries team dig deep in search of the truth behind the people and places described in biblical stories and unearth some truly breathtaking findings. Now, real people, real places, realdiscoveries.com. In Genesis 18 verse 20, the Bible tells of two cities named Sodom and Gomorrah.
Is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah true? It was in this region that the Bible and other historical documents describe a devastating act of destruction, where several small cities were thoroughly destroyed, and their wicked activities. But not until a thorough investigation of the facts had been established. Then the Lord said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin so grievous, that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not,
Sodom and Gomorrah,
I will know."
beside the Dead Sea, which became so evil that God rained down burning sulphur upon them. The two cities were completely annihilated. Simon and a group of skeptics traveled to the Dead Sea in Israel to search for the remains of Sodom and Gomorrah. What they found left them speechless. Shapes resembling ziggurats, sphinxes, and strange buildings lay amid a wasteland of ash and sulphur.
Man has always demonstrated his religion on high places. The Bible constantly refers to this. Ziggurats, Sphinxes, thousands of tons of touchable, visible history. But perhaps still not enough to convince a scientific generation like the one we live in today. Like Gomorrah, the cream ashen structures against the brown-colored mountains was even more marked at this level. But the architecture and layout of the city was very different. The buildings seemed to be arranged in terraces. They came to a large construction. It looked like the ruins of a fortress. The base reflected the style of buildings in Gomorrah, but part of it was topped with a stone wall. It had doors, windows, walls with mortar joints. Further on was what looked like a room, perhaps a table. This was an awesome city, preserved, so it would seem, by the effects of the heat baking the structures, so that 3,900 years later, we can see it. If he condemned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah by burning them into ashes and made them an example of what is going to happen to the ungodly, often built into the cliff sides, walls, doorways, wells, built of the same brickwork. This was once a well-irrigated place. Consider this reference from the Bible. Lot looked up and saw that the whole plain of Jordan was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt toward Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of Jordan, stream beds and watercourses, pebbles, water in abundance running right through the city, dams directing water sometimes under buildings, structures lining the banks of the streams, fossils, some that looked like mussels, fused together by what appears to be a great burst of heat. The constant clarity of the difference in color between the buildings and the background. Even today, Middle Eastern cities make use of cliffs and mountains.
Journey with the Real Discoveries team to the destroyed cities of Sodom and Gomorrah and see for yourself the evidence that they truly were incinerated by God.
Brimstone. Filled with excitement, everyone began looking under bushes. Suddenly, it was everywhere, like strawberry picking, bigger and bigger samples. 66 samples were collected in all that day, amongst which was one very different from the rest. Paul found a piece embedded in a wall. It resembled a peanut in a shell, with a hole at one end through which the sulphur ball could be seen clearly.
Join the team as they take these deadly sulfuric missiles to be tested in the laboratory and witness for yourself the jaw-dropping results.
Back in the UK, Simon, Emma and Einar began the long job of evaluating what they had found at the Intertech Sunbury Technology Center. An X-ray fluorescent technician was to supervise an analysis of the brimstone samples. In order to provide a sample good enough for the precision of the X-ray fluorescent spectrometer to read, Andy had to be very thorough in his preparation. Beginning by hand, Andy set about crushing one of Simon's samples. Even at this stage, Andy remarked on how pure the samples Simon had provided appeared. What was happening was difficult to grasp.
But if you're finding it actually sort of embedded in the walls and things like that.
To cut them out of the walls.
Right. No.
You might have to spend an hour cutting out one out of actual rock where it was just so embedded in the rock because you couldn't actually pull it out.
Right.
I've got a prize specimen at home. It's about the size of my fist.
Right.
And I cut it right out of the rock and I stood in the rock, left it in there, it's come down.
Right.
And embedded itself.
Right.
It may have burned for some time, but then...
Yes. Yeah, because the outside probably would be very hot and therefore it would burn there. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen anything